Hello, Layback with Betfair is back. I'm Tom Haylock, joined this week by Salt's Dave Strehlau. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, mate. I'm here off refreshing, and as you mentioned last week, which I've only just found out about actually, I didn't work public holidays, mate. I wouldn't work two public holidays in a row. So
I said last week that you called me up and said Salt's doesn't. You referred yourself in third person. Salt's doesn't work public holidays. So I put you in the lay bin.
Well, that's where I belong, mate. So fair enough.
That's true. I think we've both been put in the lay bin a few times. Huge show coming up. We've got the Turnbull on Saturday. Can't wait for that. A couple of feature 3 Group 1s at Randwick on Saturday as well. Flemington, you've been banging on about how good this card is, mate. You're up and about.
I am. I think the Flemington card's outstanding. You're not as easily as impressed as me, mate, but I'm looking forward. I think it's a really good betting card. I reckon that's the thing that's really got me excited for it because I've got quite a number of bets throughout the day.
Well, that helps for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure. Let's get stuck into it. We'll start with the lay bin because then we'll get stuck into Flemington and Randwick after that. Lay bin, you might have seen a tweet. I'll go first. We'll go one and one. The Hill Stakes worth $1 million. It's a Group 2. It's worth more than a Group 1 Metropolitan, which is run over 400 metres further. How is a Group 2 worth $1 million more than a Group 1 later in the day?
I don't know.
Get in the bin.
Get in the bin. I'll do an impersonation of when Volandi's announced that. He said, the Hill Stakes is going to be worth $1 million.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
So, yeah, he was pretty happy with that, but probably not as happy as what I am with that gag.
Jeez, how long have you been prepping that?
I sat on that 2 seconds, mate. It's not easy being this witty. Now, what I'm going to send packing is people filming things on their mobile phones that should just be their moment to remember in their heart and in their mind. All right, so an example.
You're putting society in the lay bin.
Well, yes. Some sectors of it,
most
probably 80%
sectors,
of it.
yeah,
but
yeah.
So I was watching the Queen's funeral.
Oh,
right?
You put the same thing as you didn't watch the show last week.
Nah, well, I was busy, mate.
Not working on public holidays.
But
busy back in winners.
So I watched the Queen's funeral, and I'm not like a big Royals person at all, but it was just a massive event. It was hard not to be sort of encapsulated by it.
Yes.
But then the Queen's casket's going by. I'm looking at the side of the road and everyone's just filming.
Yeah.
It's like, can't you just have that moment to yourself? Like when you go to the footy and someone's having a shot on goal and it's like an important shot on goal and everyone's filming, or you go to a concert and you see photos from behind, the pit.
Yep.
And everyone's filming. It's just like, this should just be a moment that you remember. You don't need to look back on your phone and watch it through your phone. Actually have a memory of it in your own mind. You saw it. You didn't have to film it.
Fire up, mate.
The memory is what makes it so important, not being able to film it. So can you just actually live your life and go through something that's important without whipping your phone out and filming it, please?
Well, Fitzy put in people filming themselves, putting the flowers down and stuff like that for a bit of...
I saw some of those. People people brought up tweets from the past of people bagging the Royals. And then the same people are like, rest in peace.
This lay bin could go on for a while now. You worked up.
Anyway.
No, you make it sound like, because not many people watch the videos. Like, I do it. I film stuff and we all done it. But how many times do you go back and be like, gee, that was a good time. I'm going to watch the video again?
You don't.
You don't. You just get stuck in your phone. You never see
exactly.
it again. And anyway, that's a good lay bin.
Thanks.
I want to put in, there wasn't many of these, but some people weren't fans of Geelong's Old Man Mad Monday kit. To anyone out there that's criticising Geelong for that, you're in the lay bin. Like, come on. It was very good.
Yeah,
Respect to them.
I'll go a bit harder here.
All right.
If you were offended by Geelong dressing up as old people, you need to cease to exist. Because if that is offensive, then I don't want to live on this planet.
Yeah, mate, I don't want to live on this
seriously
planet.
People having a bit of fun. And you know what I can lay is myself for hating Geelong my whole entire life. And then when the final siren went, I had this weird-ass feeling of respect.
Yep.
And actually almost being happy for them.
Did you feel sick?
I felt sick.
Yeah.
And like Joel Selwood, his retirement, like I've just got nothing but respect for him, and it makes me question who I've been for the last 15 years of my life. So That can go in the lay bin, as can you not wiping your makeup off after doing racing.com this morning. So you've got better skin than me today, and I'm pretty flat about it.
I'm looking good, aren't I?
Yeah, you're looking good, mate. You're looking good.
Yeah, I should get the labia for that. Just two things. Backboard, we'll go the other way. I'm Superman being shipped off. I don't have to back that nag ever again. That's a win.
Where did he go?
I think he's gone back to Europe. I don't know. He might be standing or who knows. He's just shipped off.
I wish I remembered that planet that Superman used to fly to all the time, because that's where he's gone.
Don't know, maybe.
Hopefully he doesn't bump into any kryptonite.
The fact that you mentioned Joel Selwood, and I don't have to worry about him playing. I don't have to worry about him ducking anymore. I'm supporting that too. Good luck to him.
All right.
Well done to the Cats. The grand final should be in the lay bin as well. That was rubbish. The average game.
You know what can go in the lay bin though? Collingwood supporters saying, "Oh, well, we would have put up a better fight." Well, we didn't win.
100%.
We lost.
100%.
Okay, we didn't turn up. We cost ourselves. We didn't make the grand final. So don't go banging on about the fact that we would have put up a better fight, because if we won, we would have earned our spot.
Well said.
On to the next.
Well said. You're fired up. I love it. Fitzy put craft beer in the lay bin last week and blew up Twitter. Everyone was jumping on him.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I disagreed, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Carlton Draft can get in the absolute sea. But we've spent about 85 minutes on the lay bin. And we've got all these.
We're fired up. Plenty of racing to go. Let's go.
Let's talk something positive.
Let's talk some fun and some winners. Race 4, we head to Flemington track. Well, good 4 potentially. Rail out 9 metres, which is interesting. Nice 18 degrees on the day. Partly cloudy, which would be a good day. I'll be on track, I think. So we'll see how we go. Flemington race 4, Group 2, Rose of Kingston Stakes is what I meant to say. 1,400 metres. Which way are you leaning?
I'm going to back 3 horses here, and I'm going to lay the favourite in.
I can't even say Davy
Yearning.
Duo or something. Davy Double.
It's a triple trait.
Triple.
Yeah, it's a triple trait, mate. I'm going to back Pride of Jenny. She'll go to the front.
Yes, she's the leader.
She will lead. She was really good in the Rose of Kingston last year at a big price, nailed by Still a Star, but she brings in a superior rating from her last start at Caulfield. That was a peak career rating. Went at the front 1,400 metres. The horse that ran second in behind, Mega Mia, I think its name is, sort of was held up and came again late, but I think Pride of Jenny was holding her through the line. She's the on-pacer I want to be with. The other one I want to be with is Fortunate Kiss. She was very unlucky through the Let's Elope last start, never got out. She doesn't have a rating that measures in the finish, but she's also very unfortunate in her racing career to date. She doesn't get much luck.
There's a few of them here.
Yeah, I'm hoping she gets a little bit of luck. Fortunate Kiss, I think she can win. And the other one at a price is She's All Class. 2 back in the Cochrane. She was the one I wanted to follow her to the Let's Elope 1,400 metres at Flemington. They stayed at 1,200 metres. Heavy track at Caulfield last start in a sit sprint. She was pegged to the inferior going. I'm willing to completely wipe that run. Off that start in the Cochrane, I reckon that 1,400 metres at Flemington is something she's going to be looking for. She can hit the line. The one I want to be against is Yearning. So she carries the full penalty for winning that Group 1, so she's got to give some good mares weight. Now, she gave some good mares weight first up in the Let's Elope, ran the fastest last 200 of the day. And even though she drew out then, she was actually rails in run and had to come off. But barrier 1 is against. And the fact that she just sprinted so hard first up 1,400 metres off an extended break, I reckon staying at 1,400 metres second up is a negative. As favourite, I want to be against her.
We saw that Stray, exactly the same in Sydney on Wednesday.
Yep.
Stayed at 1,400 metres, finished off really well. Even though it was down in class, Drew Barry won, staying at 1,400 metres off a really good run. I agree with you. I think Yearning's got to be a lay there. I was keen to take on Stray on Wednesday, got the chocolates, thankfully. But Yearning, I agree. I'm against Yearning, and I haven't actually got a lay of the day yet, so it could be mine. Could just follow you in there. I'm keen to be with Argentia, actually beaten Yearning home 2 or 3 times they've met, all times they met. So yet to be beaten by Yearning, and had 3 jump outs. Why are you laughing, mate?
Oh, because I'm doing an absolute reach.
Get in the water. These microphones, maybe. Argentia can win. No reason why she can't. I think she's a really nice horse. The other one is Pride of Jenny, so I could back the leader and the back marker, and I think we can get the chocolates there if Yearning's looking for runs on the inside, struggling to sprint through it. I think Argentia and Pride of Jenny are the 2 for me.
Well, I reckon Fresh is best Argentia as well, so I can see where you're coming from. Open race, as the mares races often.
One Fresh last campaign as well.
Yeah, 1,200 metres, Caulfield, I reckon it was.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Flew over the top and got the photo.
Yeah.
I'm with Argentia there from Pride of Jenny. Let's head to the Group 2 Danehill Stakes for the 3-year-olds, 1,100 metres. Bit of a Coolmore lead-up, Dave. And we've got a short price favourite in Giga Kick. No reason why this horse can't win. I want to ask you, What do you make of the Alpha One form reference? Do we completely forgive the fact that Alpha One came out and took on these horses last start at Flemington down the straight and capitulated and ran last? You just put a pen through that and say that Alpha One was favourite for a reason. Giga Kick's got that form, was fantastic, and he's the horse to beat.
I put a pen through it because I was a bit surprised that the market came for Alpha One that day. So Dual drifted, it came for something, but for me, he's a railer.
Mm.
He rails up. I never thought the straight was going to suit him, and he was just beaten so far that you could just wipe it.
Oh, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
That's the way I would take it. It was a little bit of concern. That's why I wanted to ask you about it, because you just can pen that because he's the form line that marries the two up, but you don't know what to make of that run. But penning it. So who are you with?
Well, I'm not going to have a bet in the race, but I wouldn't bet against Giga Kick. He's run the fastest last 6, 4 and 200 of the day at Caulfield when he ran past Alpha One, but he was back and keen that day, so he was not really entitled to run him down. Alpha One had every chance, and it just took a really good horse to mow him down, and his jump out between runs at Mornington was a beauty. He settled off the speed again, so I wouldn't be surprised if he settles off the speed and balances up down the straight, and we know he's handled the straight in the past. So he's one that I certainly don't want to be against, but at around the $2.15, I think there's some other variables that, like, you have to have a bigger bet to get a result at that price. I'm not willing to do that.
I agree with you. I think he's well found, but he ran the fastest 8, 6, 4 and 200 metres of the day over that 1,100 metres last start. As I said, that Alpha One form line just makes me not want to dive in at 210. But I think he's clearly the horse to beat. I'm going to play a couple of roughies here in the race. #SF for me. You'll see.
San Francisco.
Yeah. No, Sydney form, mate. Sydney form. Swiss Exile, poor last start. Really good to start prior. I'm not sure that Santa Domenico is really A grade, but actually ties in through Bruno Noches there and favourably through that run, $12 or so. Swiss Exile. Straight track might be a bit of a concern because he does a bit wrong, but he's got so much ability, this horse. I love him. What he did in that Santa Domenico was fantastic when he's still learning his craft and still doing a lot wrong. If he puts it together, he can win this easy.
Well, during the Queensland Carnival, went to the front and ran along at 1,400 metres at Group 2 level, nailed by She's a Bolter. So could actually set a tempo at 1,200 metres and run it out.
Yep. Swiss Exile for me. The other one's Great Barrier Reef. Now, this horse started at $1.95 on debut against a horse called Best of Bordeaux, who ran second in a Golden Slipper. So he's always shown promise. He got the win last start. He brings completely different form. The two place getters behind him last start came out on Wednesday and ran second and third again. So the form stacks up okay. He's $21. His best is good enough, and just brings completely different form, whereas all the other form is tied together. He's just one that from completely left field that's big price that has shown ability and has that SP profile back in early career. So he'll do me at $21 in the Daniel.
He's also one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is not easy to do. And he's under threat.
He's under threat.
So hopefully he can go well down the straight and bounce back.
Yes, 100%. Now, we move to the Group 3 Bart Cummings. It's a win and you're in for the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in this race. I'm not going to lie. Good luck to our mate Glenn Ingram, who's got one of the favourites.
Who's that?
Who won last start. That is High Emotion, last start winner at Flemington.
Oh, nice. Well,
that's
when I put a good win.
I put him in the lay bin. Did I tell you this? He planned for 2 weeks to come to Flemington for this race. Messaged me.
As in for the Bart Cummings?
For the last Flemington win. Yeah. Like his kids and his wife were going to drive into the city from down the coast, spend the day with the kids while he went to the races. He had it all planned, woke up Saturday morning, said, Tommy, I'm a late scratching, I'm hungover.
Hungover?
Right, it is the complete...
When you
fired me up again. Glenn Ingram Labin, and it's one of the worst. So he pulled out because he was hungover. His horse goes on to win at Flemington. He's not there to watch it.
Bolted in too.
100%. Complete Labin.
Grief.
So anyway, we get sidetracked.
He's done it, Glenn. That could be a saying going forward.
Done it, Glenn. Oh, that's one of the words. Pulling out with a hangover. Come on, mate. High Emotion's got to be a chance. It needs probably a wet track. Daikon Sweet Junior's a horse of interest if we get that good form. I think he's going really well. I think it's a nice race for him, but I'm not going to play here. Which way are you leaning?
He was good through the line in one of the main lead-up races.
Yeah, that naturalism.
Last start. Yeah, yep. But the one that I thought, I've got a lot of time for Luna Flair. I really thought she was going to have a big preparation. I think that they should go in the direction of the Caulfield Cup. She'd get in at a lightweight. She's a promising stayer. I think she's 7 or something, but she's still got a bit of upside. She's won some good races in fast time. I loved her run in the Winter Championships. Then she got freshened, trialled beautifully, was good first up. In that naturalism, she ran the fastest last 6'4" and 200 metres of the race. She's one I reckon's building. She's won at Flemington before. She's ready for this trip. I want to back her.
Good trainer.
Yep. Another one I want to back is San Herberto.
Yes.
So he was first up 1,700 metres in a handicap won by Macram. And the race rated okay. He didn't exactly charge home, but he's not a sit sprinter. He's a stayer. He always improves his rating significantly by lengths second up over the course of his entire career. He's obviously very clean-winded because he gets produced first up 2,000 metres, was really strong through the line last preparation behind a really talented Paddy defibrillator it was and really fought back through the line. He was unlucky in an Australian Cup second up. I think stepping out in trip second up is going to be no issue for him. He was one at a big price. I reckon can run really well. I'm happy to back him. I'm against intrepidation at the price. I know he was 11 weeks between runs, second up 2,000 to 2,500 metres last start, but he's in a masterful training yard that really in the past have shown that there's no issue with horses going gaps between runs.
Take them on.
And he had 2 jump outs between runs. He had a perfect run given the shape of the race. I know they went at a fast tempo, but he was in that running line. He was able to peel out and High Motion went straight past him. He's got to turn over a few lengths on some horses out of that race. I just thought he was too well found. I think he's about $4.50 fixed odds at the moment.
It's
too short.
Stable factor.
Yeah, it is.
I think.
Too short.
He might even be better on a good track. That's a query. So if we get a good 4, he might improve.
I wouldn't want to go near him at $4.50.
One of your lays of the day there, number 10, Interpretation. Nothing for me, no real interest. We head to the feature of the Group 1 Turnbull Stakes, 2,000 metres. What a race this is. I made comment, and you took a bit of offence to this. A lot of Group 3 form lines here. All the stars ran last Saturday. It's missing a star, this race.
I agree with that. It's missing a proper.
We got Smoke and Romans in the mix, right? Smoke and Romans isn't a Group 1 Turnbull horse.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I like the race a lot because I know he was going to win.
Oh, go on, lead the way.
The Gold Trip.
Gold Trip.
He is thrown in at set weights and penalties. Mm-hmm. If you look at his overseas form, like Group 1 overseas form, and some of the ratings he ran over there, it would lap these. Now, he's not going to replicate that. Unlikely. If he does, it's no betting. But his 2 runs in Australia have been full of merit. First up off a year and 1 Albury trial, charged home 1,500 metres. Then he's gone 11 weeks between runs to 2,000 metres. I know the Smoke and Romans form you're penning because he's in this race, but he gave him 6 kilos on a wet track.
Yep.
He had a good run, but I thought it was a great run to top him off for this. He drops to 54.5 kilos, and Jamie Carr takes over, who is going at 44% from her last 25 rides. If he blends in the running line, I reckon he relishes a strong tempo.
Do you reckon he needs another one?
On
or do you reckon he's ready to go now?
No, I reckon he's ready to go now. They gapped him 11 weeks, and he clung on okay in a decent rating race at 2,000 metres, a wet track with 60 kegs.
I can't argue. I've got a lot of time for the horse, right? Yep. And I really like him. I was on him for the Cox Plate. My concern here is Jewess or Jeway. Now, she was really good first up. I know she finished, or was it, out of the top 10. She finished 10th, but I liked her in the Memsie. She ran the second fastest 200 metres of the day in that Memsie, I think it was. Outstanding for a horse that's better over 2,400. Now, if she replicates what she did in the Tancred, the race could be all over, right? Australian Cup winner. She smashed Think It Over, who was flying at the time. She's a star. She pulled up a little bit lame. Do you just pen that last run in the George Main? I don't know. Makes it really tough, but she's clearly good enough to win this. Gold Trip as well, I think, is good enough to win this. I just found it really hard to bet into this race because I think one of those two will win if they turn up.
I know she ran the fastest last 200 of the day, first up or whatever, but she still got 7.5 put on her. Her overall rating from the race was pretty low. I know, and she was lame last up. She needs to jump out of the ground third up.
Well, third up she did last campaign as well. She finished 9th and then 6th, and then she came out third up and won. And
she
then
was
she
beaten
went bang,
1.8 behind Very Elegant in a Group 1 though.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I don't know what to make of that
Yeah.
George Main because she was awful, really. She was very plain, but she pulled up one out of fifth
Verse
lane.
Gold Trip, she's being priced off replicating what she did in the Australian Cup last year.
Yep. So she's short enough. I don't know what to make of the race because of that. I've found it very tricky.
Fair dart.
Profondo back on a firm track. Numerian, if he's
Profondo.
here.
Is he a myth?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's just a really tough race for me. So anyway, that's my opinion.
How's that spring champion form stacking up?
Oh, ripper.
Not great.
Ripper. Anyway, the Group 2 Gilgai. This is a race I do want to bet into, and so do you. We'll start with you, Dave.
I'm kicking it. Why don't you go first?
All
Because
right.
I'm bloody talking the hands off the clock here.
I'm trying to hurry the show along. We spent 18 minutes on the lay-bin. So
I want to hear what you have to say and then oppose it.
okay, Gilgai, I'm with two horses here. Obviously, Swatstat and Bowler come through that race that a lot of them do. The Bobby Lewis 5 horses through that. I think Etheric clearly brings the best form into this race. This is a horse that wasn't far from Eduardo first up. That's A-grade form, right? Eduardo starts here at $1.60. He ran second to Eduardo. He chased Nature Strip. Wasn't far behind the likes of Lost and Running, Mizzou, Masked Crusader last start. I think he brings superb form, and I think he's clearly the horse to beat here. He brings different form. As I said, a lot of these come through that. Bobby Lewis. Bowler got up along the inside. Swatstat was good late. Meets the two that beat him home. Better at the weights. But you can make a case for all of those through the Bobby Lewis, kind of. Private Eye's a really interesting horse too. I reckon Flemington might suit him down the straight, and he's trialling well. I think he's a really class horse.
Well, his last trial was over 794 metres. They've
kept
clearly
him fresh.
keeping him fresh.
Because he was in, I actually
Which is terrifying.
checked Sydney as well, because he's in Sydney as well, and it's still over 1,200. I actually went and said, if he's in Sydney, it might be 1,400 metres and they'll be tossing up, but two 1,200-metre races suggest he's ready to run over the 1,200, kept fresh. I like the plan of attack, and he's got to be in the mix. So Tommy Two Play, Private Eye, and Etheric, who is on top.
In my opinion, which it's obviously my opinion because I'm about to say it, I think Jamie Carr has halved the price of Etheric. I could not get him anywhere near.
Wow.
What
Not even that Eduardo form?
$7.50. It's good form, but he's yet to run, for me, an overall figure that measures up here.
Yep.
The horse that does and consistently and loves Flemington is Camel Pasta. I think he's the best bet of the day at Flemington. He's an each-way special, Camel Pasta.
What odds is Camel Pasta, mate?
He's about $9.50, $3.30 to place.
Do you want to go a head-to-head? Camel Pasta?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dinner on it?
Let's do it.
Jeez.
Means I have to go to dinner with you, so hopefully that's the old classic when you say to a girl, if this bet loses, I have to buy you dinner, and you know it's going to lose. So that's what you've done to me there, because you just want to come out to dinner with Salty.
I do.
But I laid him first up. He was my lay of the day. He drifted from $4.20 to $10 first up in the Wiley.
Yep.
He was 4 wide without cover. He had 62 kilos on a soft track. He ran the fastest last 200 of the race. Now you look at that race and you go, Shimano, all these other form. But
yeah, correct.
His first up run, last preparation, he carried 60 odd kilos. He was beaten by Free at Debt, please. And then he come to Flemington, or this was this time last year, he come to Flemington, was just knocked off in the Gilgai. Then he went 4 weeks between runs, was just knocked off in a Lineth Glow, I think it's pronounced.
Yes.
But he was cut out badly, should have won the race. He's an excellent second up horse. He loves Flemington. Jake Toroke sticks with him. He's won on him at Flemington in the past, and he's a horse that likes to go forward and bowl along. He's not a sit sprinter. So I like the fact that Jake's on. Craig Williams has ridden him quite well in the past, but I do like the fact that I know Jake's going to bowl along. There's serious suspect. How's
his record at the track and distance? 5 starts for 2 wins and 3 placings.
He likes the track because he bowls along at the 300.
All right, mate, you've scared me now.
If you backed him at the 300, you'll think, oh, bloody hell, how's he going? But they scrub him up and he just keeps going at the one pace. He's a special. I'm super keen on him.
I'm nervous. Last time I had made a bet like this, I made Whitey buy me a $108 stake. So good luck, mate.
Where are we going?
Oh, I don't know. We'll get the listeners to put in some recommendations.
I know what that is. That's the 18-year special at Hog's Breath Cafe. Oh no, that's 18-hour. 18-year dry-aged Hog's backside.
I don't want to know about your 18-year specials, mate.
I wonder if the Hog's Breath Cafe still exists.
No, I don't know. Might somewhere. Someone like Bendigo would have a Hog's Breath.
Hey, Bendigo's a beautiful
It's a
little
great
town,
place.
actually. Ballarat would have a Hog's Breath.
Bendigo's got like 5 KFCs, mate.
Does it?
Yeah, I know my mate A mate of mine owns several of them. So anyway, they got
What a
5.
baller.
Oh,
The
amazing.
Colonel of Indigo.
Yeah, correct. we push on. That is the Flemington card. Hopefully people got something out of that. Have you talked about your lay? You haven't talked about
At
your lay in the
Flemington?
race? No, your lay in the Gilguy.
Oh,
You're just
no, I don't
against
really
what's
have a
that?
lay.
You're against what's that though?
I'm against what's that? I'm against
You're just so
Athelwick.
keen.
I'm against everything except Camel Pasta.
I love that.
Mm.
I love that. Well done. I
Put
said
that up on the graphic. Everything.
I said 2 weeks ago when Zoocha won, I said laying every
Yeah.
other runner
Yeah,
in the run sheet. And
Jeez,
we got
it was
chocolates
a
there.
bit
So
nervy, wasn't it?
Never in doubt. Never in doubt, Zoocha. All right, let's get to some wash up. AFL season is run and done. Collingwood, amazing year, your mob. Now, some data on this through Betfair. Collingwood won an incredible 13 matches where they traded as outsiders at some point in the match. Can you believe that? That is a good stat.
That's unbelievable.
So 13 times they were behind considerably or outsiders and they won. Amazing. 3 of the biggest in-play results in the AFL this season. Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. Crows traded $100 in round 3.
That's when they won after the siren. Yeah.
Jordan Dawson, they kicked 4.
The old bender.
They kicked 4. It's coming back. Kicked 4 on the bounce in the last quarter, 1 after the siren. They hit $100 in play, Adelaide. Gold Coast Richmond, around 17. Gold Coast traded hundreds. They were 40 points down in the third quarter, came back and won after the siren. Noah Anderson sealed the deal there after the siren. And my favourite, Fremantle versus Melbourne. Everyone was going on about Melbourne being undefeated. They were, what were they, 38 points down at half time.
Yeah.
Fremantle kicked 12 out of the next 13 goals, won by 38 points. They hit $50 and they won by 38 points for something ridiculous.
At half time, I think I've said this on the show before. I said Melbourne might not lose another game. Well, they barely won another game.
Correct. All right, let's push on. We'll do it quickly. We head to Randwick. Heavy track I'm predicting at Randwick Salts, rail in the 3 metres. Plenty of rain around Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Nothing new in Sydney. 3 Group 1 races. We've got the Flight Stakes, the Epsom Handicap and the abysmal paid prize money Metropolitan. Let's get to
So you work at racing.com, not Racing New South Wales.
Correct.
It's good, isn't it?
It's actually worth a fair bit, but not as much as the Hill Stakes.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Flight Stakes, the first Group 1, race 6. I'm with Fireburn here. We talked about Zoocha before, absolutely airborne Zoocha. I don't know what to make of this race, but a lot of these obviously tie in, and Fireburn does tie in, but I've got her on top. I think she's the horse to beat. What she did last week, someone made a point. They were talking about putting her away, having a really light spring. Gary Portelli with Fireburn. Suddenly she's 3 runs into her prep on the quick back up.
Going to keep her fresh for the autumn.
Yeah, correct. She's on the quick back up here, which I'm all for, Gary. I love it. I loved the final 400 metres last week in the Golden Rose.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good. Probably on the wrong part of the track. I know she's a swimmer. It'll be wet. I love that for her. Up to 1,600 metres. Gary's always said that she'll be better over further this campaign. She's shaping that way. 1,600 metre suits. I've got her on top. I found it really hard to split Zoocha, Madame Pomeroy, Wolverine from that lead up, and that was the T Rose. I just went the different form a little bit with Fireburn there. I know she's short enough, but she's a class horse, so she's on top for me in the Flight Stakes. Which way are you, Lenny?
Well, when they crossed the line in the T Rose and when the data came through and Zoocha sort of fought back, ended up running the fastest last 200 of that race, I thought, well, she's got a mortgage on the flight.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, the Gazman,
Gary,
Gazman backs her up.
My man.
7 days, and clearly the Golden Rose form's the best form. Well, I know Zoocha's got in secret form as well, but it's a good race. But in terms of a lead-in rating race, that's the best one. So I'm terrified of Fireburn to the point where I don't want to back Zoocha.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of Zoocha to the point where I don't want to back Fireburn. So I'm just going to give myself splinters here, mate, and sit on the fence.
I can see what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Madame Pomeroy did so much work to get into that position. That's a query for me. So I thought that run was really good. And Zoocha probably had the softer run and was entitled to kick away a little bit late.
She had that gap between runs, though, as well.
True. And Wolverine was slightly held up, and ran home really well as well. So there's a little bit of doubt about that form for me as well, because there was a bit of a bunch finish there. But Zoocha airborne. I'm with Fireburn there in the flight. We'll head to the Epsom, the other Group 1, the Premier's Group 2. Head to the Epsom. Really good race. I've got it as a race in 2. I concede top ranked is a chance, but I'm with Hinged here. Did you know that 4-year-olds have won 20 out of the last 29 Epsoms? And that stat alone has probably just pushed me over the edge of Hinged. I think she's primed for the minute for this race. Scared, very scared of Ice Bath, who loves it wet. I think she's been placed in 5 Group 1s in her career without winning one, amazingly. She's an absolute star. She's got great form lines. But I've got Hinged on top slightly from Ice Bath, and then top ranked in third. You?
I got top ranked on top. He's the equal top weight, which it's usually not easy to do that in these handicaps, but it's quite a compressed field. Hinge is the only one that he really gives weight to that's a danger at weight for age. Like, he's off really well against the other mares at weight for age. Like, they're...
Don't tell me you're looking at weights and ratings now, mate.
Oh, well, in terms of what being worse off, that her rating now elevates quite high, dropping from 56.5 to 51.5.
Yes, yep.
Hinge. I did think she had quite a soft lead last start though. They didn't go very fast. Like, Animo sat outside her and just said, catch you later.
I think she's a better chaser too.
Yeah,
to be honest.
true. She won't get across today. She'll probably get a nice run actually in the 1-1. But I loved what Top Rank did. I think he's the best horse in the race. Yep. You look at his overseas form, he's the best horse in the race. What he did first up, he was first up 1,600 metres last preparation in the Chipping Norton on a heavy 10, beaten 1.8 and pulled up 3 out of 5 lame. He's chased a hot speed first up. I reckon he's primed. I think he'll run very well.
Yep. I'm not too keen in the Epsom. I've actually got long run. I'm on Hinged at 17s and Ice Bath at 12s, I think. So I'm doing all right here.
Yeah.
We had a show on SEN with
Tommy Trumpet.
with Fitzy. We pointed Hinged in this race probably 2 months ago. So got the price there on Hinged.
Well,
can trade out or can back top ranked here at a price and win, hopefully.
Yep.
I'll be sick if one of those 3 don't win. I might not come in
Surely
next week.
one of those 3 will win.
I might not come in next week.
Yeah.
If Ellsberg knocks me off, I'll see myself in the lay bin. Let's head to the Group 1 Metropolitan, worth less than the Group 2 Hill Stakes if you weren't aware, Salts. I have got Durston on top. Scared if it gets to a genuine heavy track, but this horse is Airborne Dynamic. Trounced his rivals last start. Superb sectionals in doing so. Broke 12 seconds for final 200 last start. I think he drops in weight, but he actually meets those worse off the weights that he met last start. But I don't mind that at all. He's on top. I'll be concerned if it's a genuine heavy 10. Stockman comes right into it then if he's here, and he's the clear danger for me. Which way have you got it?
Yeah, he was good. That Newcastle Cup, Jonathan Durston, he ran the 6th fastest last 200 metres of the day. They didn't go that hard. He just scooted up the inside, but he just won running away, didn't he?
Yep.
I'm going to say out of the race, I'm worried about what the track conditions might get to. I'm worried about too many variables to bet. I don't want to be against him.
All right, before we get to our best bets, let's do a little bit of a back to school. All right, Salts, we're heading back to school. It is time to discuss barrier trials, and it's probably more my caper than yours, if I say so myself.
Yeah.
But I want to talk more about 2-year-old trials to start off with, because they've got the first 2-year-old races of this year. We've got the Breeders, the Jim Crack in Sydney, race 1 at Flemington as well for the 2-year-olds. What do you look for in barrier trials, and then specifically 2-year-olds?
Firstly, the editors of the show are missing a trick here if they don't play Billy Madison back to school as the intro.
There you go, Carl.
Right.
Whip that up.
So,
yep.
But for 2-year-olds, the word precocious gets thrown around a lot. And the definition of precocious for
Where
those
do you
people
sit
out
on the
there.
precocious scale? Are you precocious?
Not anymore. Having developed certain abilities or inclinations at an earlier age than is usual or expected. So the precocious 2-year-olds are the ones that do well because they develop better than the other one. That's why the Golden Slipper winner hasn't won another race yet for quite some time, because they're very precocious. So with those 2-year-old trials, you're looking for professional horses.
Yes.
What I do like seeing in 2-year-old trials,
and this is a bit different to me. I think I know where you're going
being
with this.
put under a bit of pressure.
Yep.
I don't mind them being put under some pressure and responding to a bit of pressure, because then it prepares them for that pressure race day. So often the 2-year-olds that cuddled a lot in the trials, they're not let go, and you're not entirely sure how they'll respond.
Under the tank.
Yeah, under the race day pressure. So I don't mind seeing them put under a bit of pressure. But in terms of something being my jam, 2-year-old races where none of them have had a start and you're backing them off jump outs or trials, I just will not bet ever.
Yep. Well, we see that a bit differently.
Yeah.
I like my 2-year-olds. I like my trials. Professionalism's huge for me.
Yeah.
I actually don't factor in times much. I look at them as a secondary input in barrier trials, because style, pressure, and action are huge for me, especially in the 2-year-olds, how they balance up and how mature they are, how they leave the barriers, how they settle, their racing pattern, and all things like that. action's massive for me, how well they cruise. I don't mind seeing, I prefer if they get a little niggle when they have a turn of foot, if they change legs in the straight and actually find again, stuff like that, little nuances of barrier trials.
Yeah.
Stable patterns are huge. I do a lot of Sydney trials. Stable patterns, wallers always go back. If Waller suddenly jumps to the lead and leads and wins well, you prick your ears. Waterhouse will jump and run.
Dart up the inside, Waller.
Yes,
Gotcha.
we talked about that.
Yep.
The mid-prep trials, Waller's a huge one as well. Yeah, so that's really interesting. The 2-year-old races, obviously we had a set at Randwick for the 2-year-old trials for Sydney, and we've got 2, the Breeders' Plate and the Gym Crack, all debutants. Going to be interesting to see how they run and whatnot. There's a couple of horses that probably, it's funnily, all these horses, except for maybe 1 or 2, jumped, ran, led, and finished in the top 2.
Well, that's what I'd want to be looking for as well, is like early speed put themselves in the race too.
They've all done it.
Yeah.
Because not much made ground. So there's one horse in the fillies that might be a bit of value, just Gisela, in the Gym Crack, that she's drawn wide, but Pike stays, she'll get back. But she actually was one of few that actually made ground, was just given a little kick and sprinted.
Yeah.
But, we could talk about trials for ages. I love the patterns.
Yeah, that sort of ethos or approach I have with the 2-year-old, not minding seeing them put under pressure.
Yep.
That would completely change if it's like a 4-year-old and a mid-prep trial.
Well, you know what
I do not want to see them under any pressure whatsoever. I want to see them cruise around, have a nice action, find the line under zero riding.
One thing that
changes as to how old they are and where they are in their preparation.
Because you know their levels, and I like the patterns. You see horses trial time in, time out if they've approved. Like, I don't think Ellsberg had trialled as well this campaign as opposed to last campaign, and I was inclined to risk first up.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was a bit unlucky and probably wouldn't have won anyway, in my opinion, but I'm not sure how well he's going. And the barrier trials were the patterns, because you go back and look at he's trialled enormous last few preparations, but this time he hadn't. All things like that. Another one's, you go. You had something to say? No.
Oh, well, I was just going to say as well, like, we could go a long time. We could probably do another segment on this next week, because like, if it's a stayer resuming at 1,400 metres, I don't mind then being shown the persuader and finding the line in a trial. So it really depends where they're at in their preparation. I love watching horses through the line in a trial. Macram a few weeks ago had a mid-prep trial after he pulled up with cardiac arrhythmia. It was an 800-metre jump out at Flemington. Through the line, the jockey rode him out for another 200 metres. So if you watch and pay attention, you can sort of see, hey, there's some real intent here to get him ready for where he's going next.
I agree. Nothing worse than watching trials and not being able to see.
Oh, when they cut off past the post. Oh,
or like a horse is so far tailed off, they wait for it to finish.
Yeah, but
and then
before panning.
And then you can't pan.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could get lost. I actually do the form for trials as well, because those with race fitness that come into it of a trial better than those without it. So I give a huge weight to those, the fresh horses without the race fitness that have trialled well against horses with race fitness and stuff like that. But we could talk about this for a lot longer. Let's get to your best bets and best lays. I reckon Salts, in season 2, we haven't had a lay win yet. So we're doing well. I don't know the numbers, but we're absolutely airborne. We haven't had a winner.
Yeah,
which is great.
Beautiful. So I'll kick us off then, because I'm going to lay 2 horses this. I couldn't split who I was going to lay, so I was just like, well, whatever. I'll just lay them both.
Yeah,
as my best lay of the weekend. I'll lay Yearning, race 4, number 1 at Flemington. I think the inside barriers against, pays for it at set weights and penalties, winning that Group 1, and stays at 1,400 metres. And Intrepidation, race 6, number 10. Is it? No, Interpretation, sorry. Yep. Interpretation was that John O'Shea mare sprinter. Yeah. Anyway.
In the red.
Yeah. Interpretation, I thought he was too short. He's too well found. He's got to turn over some main rivals, and he's in a good camp, and you got to be wary laying a horse from that camp at this distance range, but I reckon there's others better.
How scared would you be if it's 5s into $3 late?
Not really.
No?
I'd be terrified.
I would be with that stable.
I'd be saying, I hope that's shepherd's pie in my knickers.
My best bet before you get to yours, I think we know what yours is anyway. Race 3, Sydney, Hosier. This horse is 8 weeks between runs. Brilliant mid-prep trial. We talked about this. Mid-prep trials, absolutely gun jockey booking with the claim. Rolls forward, no speed in the race. You're getting $7 or $8 this horse, each way all day. Won 6 out of 10. Disrespected in the market again. $7, $8. Rolls forward, controls the tempo each way all day. Race 3, number 2, Hosier, my best of the day. Race 4, number 8, Montefilia. This is the Hill Stakes. She just wins. She's had well well supported throughout the week, but there's no competition here. Cascadians.
Where's Numerian going to go? Is he going to come to Flemington?
Might depend on the weather. I think he's a better dry tracker.
Yeah. He was good first up on a heavy track.
He was, but he had that inside.
He gets the run. Yeah, I know he did, yeah.
He had that travelator along the inside.
Then Knight's Order ran well second up as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, but no,
I've got a lot of time for him.
Montefiore is the class horse.
Numerian was my bet of the day. When it ran second each way, it was the best value of the day, and it was a really good run.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if that downpour didn't happen, I think he wins.
Well, he ended up a pair further back than I'd mapped him.
Yeah, and the rain came, and I thought he would have won that at $12 or whatever. Anyway, that's my best. Hosier each way and Montefiore should be winning. Yours comes up at race 8 at Flemington.
Yeah, race 8, number 5, Camel Pasta. I've backed him each way. I'm not someone that often has an each way bet. I think he's an each way special. If he misses the place, I will cry every time.
I'm the same with Hosier. So he's not really a horse that I like, Hosier, but he just maps so well here. They're our best bets for the week. Salts has been a great show.
It has. Good energy, mate. You came in your suit, but you dressed down and just to
make you feel at home.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't feel underdressed. So I really do appreciate that, mate.
Pleasure, mate. Here for you. Thanks for joining us on Layback with Betfair.
Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.